Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing Jadon Sancho, his future at Chelsea, and my thoughts on the situation surrounding the winger. Now, as we know, Chelsea signed Sancho last summer, deadline day, loan deal, obligation to buy for around 20-25 million pounds at the end of the season, as long as we don't finish in the bottom four. And I think, a lot of us felt that, this was guaranteed, done deal. He's definitely going to sign for the club. He's definitely going to be a Chelsea player. That can still very much be the case, by the way. But over the last few weeks, obviously with Sancho's form taking a dip, with his form not good, 2 goals and an assist since the end of September, struggling right now, as well as Chelsea in general, but his form has been very, very poor. Reports have emerged that there is a penalty fee that Chelsea can pay to get out of the obligation. And some reports have even suggested that it's something that Chelsea are considering due to Sancho's form. Now, Ben Jacobs, whether you believe him or not, has provided an update on the situation. Chelsea have the ability to send Sancho back based on performance-based criteria. The total fee would be a minimum of 6 million up to south of 10. This is based on wage coverage and a flat fee. Chelsea and Sancho are happy with each other. So it's important to realise that, guys, that it could maybe cost Chelsea at most £10 million to send Sancho back. But Chelsea and Sancho are happy with each other as things stand. Now, Sancho made a really good start, guys. No doubt about it. He made a brilliant start. Three assists in his first 3 games. And he had that good run around November, December time. He had 2 assists in the Conference League against Heidenheim, scoring goals against Southampton and Spurs. And then really, since then, his form's taken a big, big dip. It's 1 assist in 2025. That's it. And that was the very first game of the year away at Crystal Palace. He's really struggling. He's not having much of an impact on proceedings whatsoever. And that's why these questions have now arisen. That's why this news about a penalty clause has now come out, because he's not playing well. And with Chelsea wanting 5 wingers next season, Giovanni Quenda is wrapped up for 2026. You look at Esteval, you've got Tyreek George, you've got Neto, you've got Sancho, you've got Madueke, plus you've got the right-footed winger which Chelsea want to sign in the summer. So that is your 6 there. I forget Mykhailo Mudryk, he's out of the picture right now. Tyreek George, I suspect, will probably go, which then leaves you Esteval, Madueke, Neto, Sancho, and George. That would be your 5. Correct me if I'm missing one. So look, Sancho does have a future at Chelsea, but having said that, it's entirely dependent on him, guys. It's entirely dependent on him. If he continues to play poorly for the remainder of the season, then it does give Chelsea a genuine decision to make. But on the flip side to that, guys, I think far more likely than Chelsea paying between 6 and 10 million to send Sancho back, I wouldn't be surprised, potentially, as an alternative option, if Chelsea decided to look to sell Sancho for around the 25 million pounds they bought him for. Now, Sancho won't have a shortage of suitors. Maybe in the Premier League he will, but certainly on the continent, maybe in Germany, maybe in Spain, there will be clubs interested in him. And I'm sure there'd be clubs that would take a punt on him for 20-25 million pounds. And that's what I think could be a more likely situation for Sancho. Fabrizio Romano has provided another update on the situation yesterday. It was Saturday. There's been a lot written in recent days about the situation of Jadon Sancho. It's most important to clarify, Chelsea signed Sancho from United in the summer, bringing him in with an obligation to buy for around 20 to 25 million pounds based on both the appearances of the player and the club's position in the table. But Chelsea have an option in this agreement to pay a fee to United to send him back to Old Trafford at the end of the season. So that's a possibility Chelsea have in the contract. However, my understanding, and it's still very early, is that Chelsea have not made any sort of decision and have not activated any kind of contract to send Sancho back to United. So for the moment, Chelsea are not proceeding with this clause, but they have this possibility, and it's something they will assess at the end of the season. Of course, it's not just Chelsea, and it's also important to clarify United's plan remains to sell Sancho. They still hope to sell Sancho to Chelsea. They believe he will become a Chelsea player and they are not counting on him at United next season. Now, Sancho absolutely has to do more. He's absolutely been very underwhelming and very disappointing. However, having said that, this is where I do cut him a little bit of slack, because whilst he should be doing better, Chelsea aren't really set up under Maresca to get the best out of Jadon Sancho. Sancho has thrived, obviously, especially at Borussia Dortmund, in a pass and move system. He needs options. He needs runners. The time when he excels, guys, is a system with passing options. And we don't have that. He's a pass and move player, always needs other players around him. You know, we don't even have an overlapping fullback for him to link up with. There's no point having Sancho in a wide area with no one near him. So if we're going to continue to play how we're currently playing, it is pointless him being on the pitch. It is as simple as that. It is pointless him being on the pitch, and he should be an impact player from the bench. You've got to get runners around him. At the bare minimum, give him a passing option of an underlapping or overlapping fullback. At least give him that option. Because whilst I do like Jadon Sancho, and I think there's loads of ability there, having him currently with the way that the team's set up is totally pointless. It's a complete waste of time because it doesn't suit him. It's not getting the best out of him. And it's making him look a lot worse than he actually is. I mean, Tyreek George has been far more impactful than Sancho in recent weeks. And that's the reality of the situation. George probably should be starting ahead of him. But Sancho, the ball's in his court, guys. You know, if he can perform well for these final 9 games, then that decision for Chelsea doesn't need to be made in terms of paying a penalty fee to send him back. But given the plans for Chelsea, given the fact they want to bring another winger in, given the fact that Giovanni Quender's coming in 2026, I look at it, I think Tyreek George is out of the picture. I think Mykhailo Mudryk will be out of the picture. So really what you're looking at here is the right-footed attacker, Quender, Esteval, Neto, and then for that 5th slot, you're looking at Sancho or Madueke for that 5th slot. And truth be told, I would rather have Noni Madueke than Jadon Sancho in that 5th slot. So even if Sancho stays, guys, I think at best he's got one more season at Chelsea, and then Chelsea will look to sell him because Madueke is a much more of a consistent threat. He takes players on. He has a shot. He's a goal-scoring threat. Sancho isn't really any of those things, as the numbers that he's put up so far this season show. So really, I think we're looking at a situation where maybe not this summer, but certainly next summer, you're looking at Noni Madueke and Jadon Sancho battling it out to be that 5th winger in the Chelsea squad. And as I've said, my thoughts are clear. It should be Madueke. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, whether you'd rather keep Madueke or Jadon Sancho, but that seems to be the way that things are heading at this point in time. And I don't know, am I surprised how it's gone for Sancho? Considering his start, yes. But if you look at his form over the last few years, he's struggled for any sort of consistency, any sort of rhythm. He just needs to be playing regular minutes. He needs to be in an environment where he's loved. He needs an arm around the shoulder. He's definitely a player that performs best in an environment that obviously suits him, in a system that suits him. And he's one of those guys that needs an arm around the shoulder, maybe needs that reassurance, maybe needs that love from the manager. And you know, some players are like that, and that's not an issue, but you've got to be performing better than you're performing. You know, even if he's not got those passing options that I've discussed around him, you've still got to find a way to do a little bit more. You have to. And Sancho simply isn't doing enough. Neto's been more productive than him. I'd say George is more productive in recent weeks than him. Madueke more productive. Dare I say it, even Mykhailo Mudryk was more productive than him. There's a case to be made, Tyreek George aside, that Sancho, out of Mudryk, Madueke and Neto, has possibly been Chelsea's worst wide player this season. And that's not me having a go at Sancho. That's just me being honest and giving my opinion that there's a strong case to be made that Sancho has been Chelsea's worst wide player this season, which is kind of mad given the start that he made at Chelsea. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. I expect him to stay personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea look to sell him in the summer for around the 20-25 million pound mark, or at best, unless he has a worldly season next season. I think realistically, right now as things stand, I think Sancho's got one more season at Chelsea tops before the club take a decision to move him on. But that's my thoughts on the Sancho situation, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV, and I'll catch you again in another one soon. Up the Chelsea, and we're out. Peace.